So Redwirez MixIR 2 version 1.1.185. So since my last Redwirez MixIR 2 video, the people over at Redwirez have released a updated version of MixIR 2. In the first video I posted, I was using version 1.1.181. Okay, so as of this video, we're now up to version 1.1.185. And that's what you're seeing here on screen. So let's look at what has changed in 1.1.185 versus 1.1.181. Okay, so here's a screen grab of MixIR 2 from my last Redwirez video, and you'll see some things definitely have changed. So first you're going to notice that the meters are gone. The input meter here and the output meter here are no longer in MixIR 2 1.1.185, as you can clearly see here. You can always refer to the meters in your DAW, of course. Other things that have changed graphically, you can see that MixIR 2 is now in white text on a red background. Okay, that's nice. Gives a much more, I guess, stark sort of contrast. More of a modern look, I think. We'll see that the backgrounds have been brightened somewhat from version 1.1.181, which is nice. It makes it a bit easier to actually read the text over here where your impulse responses are and over here where your IR blocks are. Next, we'll look towards the bottom here. You see the graphic has changed from Redwirez to the Redwirez logo. Mono button's the same. Text is a bit larger. See, our knobs got a nice update to where they're more metallic looking. That's nice. The IR pan area, it has now got a nice faceplate on it. Makes it stick out a little bit more. Still have our IR length knob, dry, wet. And you'll see also, because they had removed the output meters, they also removed the split attenuators handles here, as you can see. But things they added was a nice little master pan knob, and they've added level indicator LEDs. So you have a green light, yellow light, and if you start clipping, the red light will come on. So you'll still have a way to tell if you're clipping or not. And this master pan knob, it'll function more or less the same as the split attenuators will. So because the meters were removed, you may actually get better performance from MixIR 2 in your DAW. Now, I wasn't really having performance problems with MixIR 2 1.1.181 with the meters included, and I haven't had too much time to work with version 1.1.185, but it does feel a bit snappier to me. So although we all like shiny lights going up and down, they're not really necessary. Maybe in the future they'll create a new algorithm and bring them back where they can keep the performance level and still have meters. So now I'll just show you a little bit how this master pan knob works here versus the split attenuators, like I showed in the last video when one side was louder than the other side. I'll show you how to accomplish the same thing using the master pan knob. So right now I have tracks 3, 4, 5, and 6 active, okay? And I'll just put all these to center. And they all have various impulse responses on them, as you can see here. Okay, so we'll look here at our master channel here in Pro Tools. Okay, so you can see our level is pretty even left and right. So the volume on the left and right channels are pretty even. So now I'll turn on blocks 1 and blocks 2, and those impulse responses are panned hard left and hard right. So we're still pretty even. But now if I take channel 3, pan it 100% right, 4 all the way right, 5 all the way right, and then I were to play. Okay, now we can see our right channel is slightly louder than our left channel. Now that's where the split attenuator handles would come in, as I showed in the last video. But since they were removed and a master pan knob was put in its place, now we can accomplish essentially the same thing by using the master pan knob. So because our channel is slightly louder on the right, okay, we'll want to pan the master output slightly left to compensate for the louder right channel. So that way we'll be sending more signal out the left than we will the right. So we'll just grab the pan knob, at about 11 or 12. I think that'll be enough. So let's hear this. That's much better. Of course, if your mix is off balance left and right, it doesn't mean you have to pan it. If it sounds good in the mix, then it sounds good, period. But if you want to level out the left and right channels, the master pan knob will do it for you. All the way left, we'll pan it all the way right. So I think that gives you a pretty good idea about how that works. Another thing I don't think I mentioned in the last video is when you're turning on and off your IR blocks, you can do it from this power button here, but you can also do it from these nice little buttons underneath the corresponding impulse response pan knob. So that's also nice as well. You can turn on and off a block in the same area where you can adjust the pan ratio of the impulse response. And lastly, another thing that has changed is because the meters were removed, there's now more room in the impulse response area where you grab your IRs and load them into your blocks. As you can see, it's quite a bit wider now, so you're not having to use a scroll bar to scroll left and right to read the entire name of the impulse response. You can see it very easily on one screen without having to worry about scrolling left to right. Very nice. So I think that wraps up the updates on MixIR 2 version 1.1.185. You can learn more about Redwirez, MixIR 2, and the big bundle at redwirez.com.